Howdy, shipmates, it's Captain Dan here. Welcome to Story Time with Captain Dan. A time to tell tales old and new for young and old. A time to lift our spirits while we're all stuck at home, most of us anyway, during this time, during the coronavirus. So it's a time to lift ourselves and lift our spirits while we sail these ships in our little ships. And you've joined me on my little ship on our little journey, our daily journey for today. And I'm telling a tale for a good old friend. This is a story that's very unfamiliar to me, but it's a lovely tale that I've just come across. It's called Mick's Mammoth by Roy Gerard. So here's a story of Mick's Mammoth. I better put my old spy glasses on though, because like you're an old sea dog like me, sometimes you can't see so well. And I need these to see more clearly. So here we go. Mick's Mammoth by Roy Gerard. Now Mick the caveman, small and thin, had long blonde hair and a beardless chin. When danger loomed, he saved his skin by hiding in the cave. The thought of fighting made him droop, so other members of the group considered him a nincompoop, for they were fierce and brave. But food was scarce, and one bleak day the tribe packed up and went away to hunt elsewhere, not knowing they were leaving Mick behind. Oh dear. He'd gone exploring far below, down where the silver birch trees grow, and there among the deep soft snow he made the strangest find. The baby beast was in a mess, and looked at him in deep distress. Despite his fear, Mick nonetheless set to and dug it out. When finally the beast was free, it grew as frisky as could be, gallumped around and squealed with glee, and followed Mick about. They travelled homeward side by side, to find the cave unoccupied. Poor Mick sat in the snow and cried beside himself with fear. But when the snow began to fall, he dried his tears and built a wall around the cave, which all in all seemed quite a good idea. Then safe within their barricade, they felt completely unafraid. Mick struck some sparks, a fire was made, which cheered them up no end. The branches blazed so warm and bright, it helped them to forget their plight. And there Mick spent a cosy night with Rum, his new-found friend. Next day they foraged in the wood, found berries there which tasted good, and roots which made them clean of mud, of a culinary treat. The tribe would have been most surprised to see that Mick, whom they despised, had used his wits and recognised that plants were good to eat. So winter passed and spring came round. Then near the cave one day Mick found some seeds he'd scattered on the ground had taken root and grown. Perfecting first of all the spade, he went to work, and with Rum's aid he dug and delved, and soon he'd made a garden of his own. Wow! With food in plenty they survived until the fairer days arrived. Thus man and beast stood firm and thrived in finest harmony, in family and friendly and lovely harmony. When summer warmed the countryside, Rum grew too big to sleep inside. He sometimes took Mick for a ride, so broad and strong was he. One day a fierce, unfriendly bear attacked the unsuspecting pair. He thought their cave could be his lair, but he quickly changed his mind. Rum roared and stamped his massive feet. at which the bear beat swift retreat, deciding he'd no wish to meet a creature of this kind. Mick found a lake and took a swim, then acting on a sudden whim, he caught some fish which seemed to him an amazing appetizing meal. When offered fish, Ram shook his head, but ate some lily pads instead, and soon they felt quite overfed. They gobbled a good deal. Beside the lake they found some clay of reddish brown and bluey grey, which Mick took home without delay to try a bright idea. His clever trick was first of all to roll the clay into a ball, and with this he drew things up the wall like bison, bears and deer. He crushed some berries to produce some red and blue and purple juice, and then he put them all to use by painting his design. His little nimble fingers flew, and though it took him some weeks to do, eventually when he was through, the cave looked really fine. Beautiful, don't you think? And then one day, to Mick's delight, his former friends came into sight, and ran in panic-stricken fright towards his cosy den. Oh no! He wondered why they made such haste, and saw that they were being chased across the wild and rocky waste by hordes of hairy men. Worrying. The sight filled Mick with great alarm, but then to save his friends from harm, he kept his cool, remaining calm, and leapt on Rum's broad back. Towards the savage tribe they sped, but happily no blood was shed. The hairy horde just turned and fled when faced by this attack. The tribe poured praise on Mick and Rum, their hero and their hairy chum, and all agreed Mick should become their leader from that day. And this is where the story ends. Mick reunited with his friends, who found a way to make amends for losing him that way. The moral is that little chaps may overcome life's handicaps, and with some effort they perhaps can triumph in the end. For Mick won through on brains and wit, though fortunate, I must admit, to have one priceless benefit: a mammoth for a friend. And there you can see the mammoth walking away with his big, broad, hairy bum. So Mick's Mammoth by Roy Gerard. And that's it from Captain Dan today. So I'm going to have to say goodbye until tomorrow, my friends, when we'll sail on the captain's ship once more. We'll continue our journey, our daily trip, wherever we are going, our little task for the day, our journey together along these seas in these difficult times, raising our spirits and having a bit of fun. But I'm going to end in my usual way. Please join in and help me if you can, while I bid you a good night. Good night, good night. Oh, sweet repose. Don't lie on your belly, because you might squash your news. Good night.